Going live. There we go. And good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome to a gorgeous Sunday morning. And here we are at our dear friends Bikes, Beans, and Bordeaux in beautiful Audubon Park.
Yes, and we are psyched to have you here for Nerdspresso episode 104. I am Jeff.
I'm Jimmy.
And it is hot outside.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and it's just not right for it to be this hot this early. But, you know...
It's nice to have a second reason to not wear pants, though, as opposed to the entire last year.
Good point. But also, it's a great reason. It is too darn hot to do anything outside, so stay inside in the AC, watch movies, watch TV shows, read...
And drink piping hot coffee.
Drink piping hot, because, you know, what else? And read some comic books or draw, write stories, create something, but, you know, just have a good old time, not sweating your head off.
Indulge your nerdness on this weekend, because you deserve it.
But it is good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too, my friend.
And thank you all for joining us here at Bikes, Beans, and Bordeaux in lovely Audubon Park, not too far from what used to be the Nerd Mothership, Enterprise 1701, your place for comics and collectibles back when we were nerdlings. But we are here now, hosting episode 104 of Nerdspresso, and Jim and I are back just 1 week later. Phil Hoffman, you said we never do anything consistently, so 2 weeks of Nerdspresso in a row, and we are psyched to be here. And you're looking awesome in your Superman tee.
It is a proud moment to be a Superman fan again, because we have got one of the greatest incarnations of the Superman character on TV happening right now with Superman and Lois. Michael B. Jordan has announced his new Superman project that he's doing based on the story of Balzad, who is like an Elseworld Superman. And there's whispers and rumors of a potential new Man of Steel, possibly bringing Cavill back into some way to something else. And then we've got some really... It looks like we're getting into the good DC movies coming out.
Look at that.
With Suicide Squad and things like that.
Anything can happen, and that's the fun of this kind of stuff. It's like, you didn't like this one, hang out.
Yeah.
Something else will come along soon. But because we've done this within a week, we didn't think we'd have enough to talk about. And it feels like in the last 3 days, there's been like
so much.
An avalanche of nerdness befalling us that we need to dive into. I do want to give a shout out to my nerdwear today. I am wearing a t-shirt from the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia.
Look at this.
The College of Physicians. We were just up there, myself, my lovely wife, and my nerd spawn. We're in Philadelphia visiting family, and we went to the Mutter Museum, which is very cool. It's like a museum run by Tim Burton.
Yeah.
It is a museum of medical oddities. So it's 200 years of the weirdness that can happen in the human body before modern medicine. So if you're in Philadelphia, it is definitely worth checking out.
It's great to check out the Mutter Museum, which is right across the street from the Muttering Museum, which is hard to find because the directions don't sound like this when they're trying to tell you that's something I'm buying.
It's really hard to follow the tour.
It really is.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Which was the style at the time?
What? So let's just dive into this. We've got
derailed already. It's 30 minutes in.
This is what we are, the podcast version of a Robert Frost poem.
Oh my gosh!
Two nerds diverge in a wood, and we decided to talk about nothing. So
and we reacted to the one less traveled by.
Yes, and it has made all the difference.
So a couple of things that last week we were chatting, and we have my infamous list of movies that I really should have seen by now, but I just kind of haven't for whatever reason. And at one day we have our continual agreement that we are eventually going to write this friggin' list down. But one movie that was on there that Jeff had watched and I had not enjoyed yet was Gunpowder Milkshake. Well, I'm proud to tell you that now that movie is off the list.
Look at that.
I watched Gunpowder Milkshake as soon as I got back from episode 103, and I gotta say, it is there's a lot going on in that movie.
There's a lot. There's a lot happening. I am happy to hear that you got a check mark off that list.
There you go.
and the world of cinema thanks you, and they can sleep well now. But yeah, so
It was one of the finest retellings of Sleeping Beauty that I've seen in a very long time.
there you go, there you go.
Extrapolate, you say? Why I think I
Yeah,
know.
why don't you?
So there is building this off of one clue, and it's actually based on a meme that you posted in the past week as well.
Oh, look at that! I'm so
With
flattered.
the Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, the fairies from Sleeping Beauty,
yes.
who were presented in their
Yes.
clothes, and
Yeah.
then you had 3 different characters who were also in that. And I forget who were the other 3.
It was Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Loki.
And they were in the same, the blue
Yes.
and the red and the
And the
green,
green,
ready
yes.
to mess stuff up. So, cut to Gunpowder Milkshake, and you've got the story of this little girl who is trying to find her own way. She's independent. She doesn't really have many people in her life. Her mother is gone, and so now she's kind of on her own. And who does she turn to but these 3 kindly ladies who are going to help her on her way? And each of them have distinctive personalities, and they're wearing, wouldn't you know, pink, green, and blue. And each of them have their unique different styles that they influence. You've got Carla Gugino, who is more of the librarian style, who wants her to have a little bit of fun and focus on the learning things. And then you've got Angela Bassett, who is the we're here to do a job, and she's in all green, so she's a little bit more the tougher and everything. And with all of them together, they lead our young protagonist, played by the girl who Karen Gillan.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Let me catch up.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Let that soak into your.
Oh, Nebula.
neurons.
And Dr.
Yeah,
Who.
there you go.
So
There you
Karen
go.
Gillan
Yeah.
plays the main character in this one, and she's a hitman. She's a assassin for hire, and so part of the deal that she's working with Paul Giamatti at the beginning, who in this story is our Maleficent, because in the earliest portion,
Yes.
they are seen as somewhat allies. It's like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be here for you. And, you know, I'm someone who's in your corner, and we've met before. And then there's there's a betrayal. And all of a sudden it becomes, I got to storm the castle, and I got to take this down myself.
And he's not drinking any freaking Merlot.
No, man.
No.
Which is good, because if that had happened, then the entire movie would have gone
Sideways.
drink up. You're punning for 2 now.
Oh, hey.
So anyway, it's a very loose theory, and I'm sure if I were to really sit down and write into it, I could make more out of it. But on the surface, based on the costume choices and the hero's journey alone, I feel like Gunpowder Milkshake is a shoot 'em up Sleeping Beauty.
I'd clink on that, my friend.
Yeah.
I think you found the basis of a Screen Rant article right there. But that is a wonderful synopsis of Gunpowder Milkshake, which I want you to know, Gunpowder Milkshake is gluten-free. So, gang, if you are out there and you have seen Gunpowder Milkshake, which dropped on Netflix last week, please check it out. Let us know.
A lot of carbides in it, though.
Yeah, very much so. And is, it goes down smooth, but then it gives you an upset tummy.
Yeah.
So check it out. They're visually, it's got style galore. It's got an awesome cast.
Yeah.
It's got story elements ripped from about a half a dozen other action movies.
Yep.
But check it out. Let us know. And I'm proud of you for watching a movie I recommended.
You know what?
Yeah.
Then get ready, because here's round 2. Because last night I watched The Tomorrow War.
What?
I know it.
What? Look at this.
And I thought this one was actually this was an Amazon direct to Prime movie.
Yeah, this was gonna be a movie that was released in theaters last Christmas, and of
Yeah.
course, COVID. So Amazon purchased it and rolled it out as a summer release right around 4th of July.
So it was destined for
It
theatrical.
was originally going to be a theatrical
Good,
release.
because
yeah.
this felt like this should be on a movie theater screen.
It felt like
was
a summer movie.
Huge set pieces.
Yes.
Just an incredible cast with Chris Pratt, J.K. Simmons, Betty Gilpin is in there, and she's fantastic. And then a bunch of I know that guys, like a bunch of character actors like Marilyn Radskub, and a few other folks in there who are just really fantastic.
Who we can't remember their names, but we know who they are when we see them.
The cool thing about watching it on Amazon Prime is that you can swipe up at any time.
Oh.
You're like, okay, that's who they are,
Yeah.
and that's what else they were in. So
Yeah.
very cool.
Yes.
With that X-ray feature, that's a kind of a cool thing when you want to have these kind of
Yes.
conversations.
So
But Tomorrow War is really, I thought this was really cool. So it like all of these movies, they're building off of centralized ideas, and you have this interesting concept of we have to fight aliens in the future, and we're running out of troops, so we're going to go back in time, and we're going to pull more troops in. And I'm thinking, well, if you're going back in time anyway, why don't you just take the information you know and then bring it back and we could stop it? But like, no, we don't want to tell you anything about this, because if we told you what you were going up against, you wouldn't follow us.
We don't want to slow down the story with thinking.
So there were a couple of situations where it's like, okay, well, you can end the war right now if you do X, Y, or Z. And they didn't. But they did do something at the end of the movie that did make a whole lot of sense and would have been a salvageable way to stop this. And, I'm not going to tell you if it does or not, because there might in fact be a sequel. But this movie was really cool. It had some really solid elements of Starship Troopers. Mm-hmm. I felt a lot of Starship Troopers action in this movie.
Yeah, it did feel that way.
Along with Congo.
Really?
Yeah.
I wondered when Chris Pratt kept going, Amy, good gorilla, Amy. I was like, I've seen this somewhere before.
So great.
And then J.K. Simmons was like, stop eating my sesame cake.
Yeah.
Yes, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. So something else that's cool about this, whenever you have action movies now where your character has former military training, mm-hmm. they put them through actual military training. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know this off the top of my head as a fact, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm on the internet and I can't be wrong.
Yes.
Was Chris Pratt actually in the military? Did he actually serve?
He was not in the military, but he was a waiter at Bubba Gump.
Okay.
So it's very similar.
It's a lot of the same thing.
Yes.
Because I know people in Vietnam who, after Nam was over, they went and opened Bubba Gump. So you can be a soldier transitioning to the shrimp.
And during the lunch rush, it is kind of like being in a firefight.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
If they don't get that shrimp 4 ways, it gets ugly.
So Chris Pratt in Jurassic World, his character Owen Grady is supposedly a former Navy SEAL. Mm-hmm. Right? He did work with training dolphins to look for mines and things like that, and that's kind of the backstory of his character. In this one as well, he is a charming high school science teacher who also has previous experience in the military and is brought forward to kind of help take care of all this sort of stuff. The reason that I'm getting in this direction is because when they do the military actions, like clearing a room and moving from space to space, and you're on me and on this team, and the communications that they had with these regular folks that got drafted into this future war, you watch it and like, this doesn't feel like movie military tactics, this feels like actual military tactics. Like, this feels like they asked the right people. Or like that video of Keanu Reeves doing the gun training for John Wick.
Right.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
Now Ted can go back in time.
Yeah, there you go.
And he's gonna change things. But no, so I thought Tomorrow War was really cool, and it was really fun to see like the stakes getting raised, and like how these dynamic alien creatures that they're fighting against, like, we don't know anything about them. We're learning all this stuff with the characters, and so I thought that was kind of cool. So definitely aliens and Starship Troopers vibe, all wrapped up in Terminator.
I would give you that with a little sprinkling of Back to the Future.
Absolutely.
It's a fun movie. It's a summer movie.
Yeah.
Good friend Wes Platt, who is a follower on Nerdspresso, and his lovely wife Catherine is a devout follower of Nerdspresso. Wes Platt has a theory with all these movies that were originally planned for the big screen that ended up on streaming, that he said of Wonder Woman 2, had I seen this in the theater in the darkness with a room full of strangers and a big tub of popcorn, I could have sat back and just let the spectacle wash over me. But because I'm watching it on streaming and I have to pause it every 20 minutes because my kid just set something on fire, or I can rewind and look at things, I get taken out of the experience too much, and I start to focus on the dumbness rather than the spectacle.
Understood.
And I feel this with Tomorrow War. There's a lot of dumb happening in this movie. It's a good time, but it makes me wonder. Like, they go. There's this future war. They go back in time to bring people from the past to the future to serve as troops. They give them 1 week of training before they go into the future.
Yeah.
Which is basically like, here's how your gun works. And then you're only in the future for like a week, apparently, and then they zap you back. I feel like if I'm going to face a foe in a war in the future, I'd like a lot more than just 7 days of training.
Well, the thing is that this was kind of in the side notes. You have to be watching with these details. But in the future, the president is Zap Brannigan. And so the solution is we're going to send wave after wave of men to their deaths to slow down the aliens. Right, men?
It did feel like everybody was just cannon fodder.
That's right, absolutely.
Know? It's just like, we're going to just throw people at them, which will buy us time until we figure out how to fight them.
Especially the first time that we go to the future together,
Yeah.
and that becomes, okay, we're going to tell you this. I'm like, that's not going to be that.
And then the other thing that I thought is they do when Chris Pratt shows up for his training, and granted he plays like he did 2 tours in Iraq or something, and then he became like a science teacher, and so now that was one of the reasons why they drafted him. So in the training sequence they pan and you see all the other recruits, and it's like Chris Pratt and a bunch of dudes that look like me. And I'm like, man, the future needs a better army than me. So there was that, but it definitely felt like they plucked ideas from a lot of better movies to put this together. But there were a couple of twists, and it were fun. And J.K. Simmons is always worth watching. I wish the movie had more J.K. Simmons, and I wish they'd given Betty Gilpin a lot more to do. She was good in the movie. Betty Gilpin really... From Glow, another Netflix series that she totally rocks in that show.
Absolutely.
And she was in a movie, another pandemic casualty, The Hunt, and which is... came out, it was supposed to be in theaters, or it came out in theaters, and then the next week the whole world shut down, so no one saw this movie. But Betty Gilpin is very cool actress. But in this, she kind of plays the dutiful wife, and she needed more to do than just rub Chris Pratt's back and tell him, hang in there. But that's all me. More J.K. Simmons, more Betty Gilpin, maybe a little more thought to the screen, but still tons of fun. Aliens look cool.
They did look really cool, and we're very glad to have joining us in the comments right now our dear friend and Jedi Master Juliana Giorgiano is with us here today.
Hey Juliana,
how you
welcome.
doing?
Good to see you. Welcome. Thoughts on Tomorrow War, Gunpowder Milkshake, or just the fact that it's flipping hot outside?
Well, her top comments here. We're going to go back in reverse order. She said, "Tomorrow War was great overall." Hashtag Chris Pratt. But the idea of aliens being like roaches was annoying. And I think that you're right. There is kind of a trope when they have these other alien life forms from different parts and places that we try to put them into pigeonholes of like creatures that we know here. And I think if you did more alien stories where you took things from like deep time, like you look at some of the creatures that lived here on Earth during the Carboniferous period or the Devonian period, like way before dinosaurs, before plants really, it would blow your mind. Like, if you had an alien movie and the creatures that you were fighting ended up looking like Anomalocaris, for example, that would be a mind-blowing thing. To give you an example, the big flying snake worm things from the Avengers looked a lot like animals that lived here on Earth 500 million years ago. It's insane to see these kind of things coming together. And she also says that Gunpowder Milkshake was just a fun movie, because it was. There's no question it was fun. It was the lighting, the style choices. It's like if Wes Anderson and Paul Thomas Anderson collided and did a movie together.
Very much so. You know, if you're getting your napalm burger and your nitro fries, you gotta wrap it up with a gunpowder milkshake. Well, we are happy to have you on board, Juliana.
Absolutely. You know, I met Juliana for the first time when we did Nerd Night a couple of years back. And I'm actually going to be doing another Nerd Night.
Oh, are you?
I just signed up. Yeah, I'm going to be doing, for Nerd Night in August, I'm going to be doing a new talk about dinosaurs and some really cool stuff. So that'll be fun things.
Very much so, because, you know, Jimmy's other superhero role in the podcast world is as the creator and host of Dinosaurs Will Always Be Awesome. So if you like what we do here on Nerdspresso, go check out Dwaba, because he's twice as smart on that show. Yes.
It's a title and it's a fact, and it's a really a lot of fun to do that. So I'm really looking forward to this next chat coming up. We have some other cool things that we were looking at today because we have so much to talk about and like 10 minutes to do it. So let's
we're on a time crunch on this one, so we're just going to go through these thoughts.
Yeah, Cineversaries. This week marked major milestones in beloved family franchises and movies that we've loved for a long time.
And it's because, we're in summer and the good movies come out in summer.
Yep.
So we just keep rolling through these movies that are hitting monumental anniversaries.
Yeah.
And this past week, 10 years ago, this past week, we saw the premiere of Captain America: The First Avenger.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
10 years ago since because that's not the beginning of the Marvel studios, right? Because
No.
Marvel kicked off with, now, which one did Marvel really kick off with?
You could claim that it
Was it Iron Man or was it Ed Norton's Hulk?
There's a lot of talk about this because, even before Marvel Studios started, there were other Marvel movies.
Yep.
Are we good? We're checking. We're just making
dropped out.
sure that we don't have any technical difficulties. So
We're back.
All right, we are back. And our volume is good?
Yeah, volume's
all
good.
All right. So, thank you for bearing with us. Our Wi-Fi needs coffee.
We're a little spotty.
But it was like there were times when, Marvel characters were like Sony bought a lot of the Marvel characters. So can you really say that Marvel characters in movies, but in terms of Marvel Studios?
Yes.
I did, and in 2008, you saw the release of Iron Man and Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Iron Man came out prior to Incredible Hulk. Yeah, you know what, it did, because you got Tony Stark in the post-credits scene.
Tony Stark is the post-credits scene
and
in Incredible
Hulk. So yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe officially began with Iron Man in 2008.
Nice.
But a lot of people think what we think of in terms of Marvel movies started to come together with Captain America: The First Avenger.
Absolutely.
And is it because it was kind of the first sprinkling of the
Infinity greater world building
and the Infinity Stone storyline that led us to like the next gajillion movies?
It's just, I recently rewatched, once I got Disney Plus, that was the first thing I did with it, really. Is I just kind of picked through and watched all the Marvel movies again, just in the background, kind of having things over. And Captain America is still, I think, one of my favorites in the MCU. Just because the Captain America movies would also be really great Superman movies, because he just gets it.
I was gonna bring that up. The two movies that come to mind when I watch Captain America: The First Avenger is the first Superman movie with Chris Reeves, because it is sincere, it is all American, and it has an actor who has gone all in on the character. Chris Pratt the other Chris Evans.
No,
There's
Chris
like,
Pine.
By the way, Hemsworth.
Yeah, that's right.
No, there's like a dozen guys named Chris
So
in
this
movies.
one is Chris Christopherson.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
one we're looking at.
Chris Sarandon. Yeah. But Chris.
Humpadink. Humpadink.
Change your names, guys. But Chris Evans, prior to Captain America, he was in the Fox Fantastic Four movies, which aren't so good. He was in a movie called The Losers, which is an action flick based on a graphic novel from DC, and he did just a bunch of other Not Another Teen Movie and The Perfect Score and things like Forgettable, Nanny Diaries.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He played one of the superpowered ex-boyfriends.
And he was great in that.
And he was good in that one alongside Brandon Routh, who had also previously just been in Superman Returns. And so they had... Yep.
Are we back?
We're
back.
You know what I love about this? Every time we buffer, I'm making the best face when we're doing it.
He has some very nice screen captures.
Yeah, so here's a real-time buffering. You know, Brandon Routh was really good in that movie because he really captured the essence of his Superman character, but as a vegan-powered guy. So, no, it was really good. So, Captain America, 10 years old.
That's
America.
Crazy. And so, so it's like we didn't know who Chris Evans was, but he came and he crushed it, and he... they really kind of started the momentum to the Avengers movies.
Absolutely. The other
And the other movie that it reminds me is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep. Yeah, right there. Click on that. Bam.
Because the sense of time, place, the adventure, it's like Captain America: First Avenger. A great movie. Not my all-time favorite Captain America movie, but a great start to that character on movies.
And I like that Raiders was actually even referenced in Captain America:
Yes,
The First Avenger
yes.
as well, because there's the part when Red Skull gets the Tesseract for the first time, and he goes, "And the Führer is looking for trinkets in the desert." Because
Bam! That's called an Easter egg, son.
That's it.
And then the other, yes.
I'm gonna put
Yes.
on. This is not Nerdspresso talking. This is Geek Latte. So would that make Indiana Jones part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And then also, who would win in a fight between Short Round and Thanos? So,
You call him Doctor Strange.
question.
Yes.
Question. Was the super serum that made Captain America perhaps brewed in the cup of a carpenter, which is what makes him so strong and invulnerable?
You chose wisely.
Since we're gonna paint this picture.
We are going deep nerd here.
That's gonna be okay. So Nerdspresso is when we're just chilling, but when we want to go into like the deep tinfoil hat, dark web kind of thing, that's Geek Latte.
Geek Latte. Very true. Now the other movie that had a big anniversary this week,
Our favorites.
one of our favorites, one of the best Christmas movies of all time.
Yep.
The right man at the wrong time, or the wrong man at the right time.
And during its production, and rightly after it came out, it was considered the worst action movie of all time because the action hero just spent most of the time hiding and trying to run away.
What do you know?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about our favorite Christmas movie of all time.
Die Hard. Die Hard came out July 22nd, 1988. I remember seeing it at the Winter Park Triple. Mm-hmm. And it starred the guy from Moonlighting.
I remember watching it on VHS in a basement.
And now we've aged both of us. But Die Hard, probably not just one of the best action movies of all time, one of the best movies, period. Just in terms of the casting, in terms of the plot, in terms of the action, just a good movie. Mm-hmm. And it came out 33 years ago this past
crazy.
week. Gang, let us know your memories of Captain America: The First Avenger, Die Hard, when you first saw them, what you thought of them. Die Hard, such a great movie, become now like the quintessential nerd Christmas film because it takes place at Christmas. There's Christmas music in it. There's a Grinchy type character in this movie. John McClane is doing this so he can see his family. If you want to go deep nerd on this, we could spend tons of time, but Die Hard, just a good time.
So, because we're talking about Die Hard and J.K. Simmons, I feel like I need to mention as another show that's on Amazon Prime that if you haven't watched it, it's definitely worth watching. But not with Tate around.
Okie dokie dokio.
The show is called Invincible.
Okay.
It's an animated show based on a comic book by Robert Kirkman, who did The Walking Dead.
Okay.
And it is, in many cases, super hyper crazy violent.
Alrighty.
But it's so much fun because we're
all free of that. Talking about good screen traps.
I know.
Apps. Guys, thanks for hanging in with us through the crazy Wi-Fi craziness. But hopefully you're all still there and still hanging in there.
Yep. If you can hear me, what I'm saying is, Invincible is a great show, but I recommend it in this conversation because the high school that the main character goes to is Reginald Vell Johnson High School.
Very nice.
And the principal is Principal Winslow, voiced by... I'm going to let you fill in the blank on that one.
Does he want pictures of Spider-Man?
Yeah. No.
No. It's Reginald.
It's Reginald Vell Johnson.
It is Reginald Vell.
As Principal Winslow in Reginald Vell Johnson High School.
So,
J.K. Simmons plays a character named Omni-Man, who is basically Superman.
All right, so he's in this.
Yes.
I thought we were doing a J.K. Simmons joke. You're doing a Die Hard reference.
No, I'm tying it all together.
You're pulling it all together. You got a regular
Pull the strings.
Bouillabaisse
it.
of nerdness. So I think
I put the fun in gumbo.
I think popcorn shrimp. Yeah. I think I did watch Invincible, and my son walked in and goes, Why are you watching a cartoon?" And then someone got broke in half.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's the show.
pretty
Okay,
rough.
well, moving on.
Yes.
Even more so. So it's like
We're racing against the clock right now,
Yes.
folks. I'm sorry, we're moving very quickly. We have a hard out time today, but
but it's like
imaginary celebrity bro.
imaginary celebrity bro
And-
nerd messiah Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith.
Talking about all nerd goodness, made the announcement this week that he is going to begin production soon on Clerks 3.
Yeah.
The continuation of his Clerks saga.
It was really interesting to see because he spoke to like what the story is going to be about a little bit, and I don't think this is necessarily spoilers because this is in the same announcement that everything else came from. But Kevin Smith in real life suffered a debilitating heart attack
Yeah.
that gave him an opportunity to kind of reevaluate everything in his life. So he's changed all of his habits. He changed what he eats. He's watching, he's moving more, eating less, and smoking everything in a 5-mile radius. But he's used that perspective to kind of see that was a pivotal, life-changing moment for him. And so Randall,
Yes.
who is from the original Clerks, you're putting him in that same situation where he's going to get the heart attack that Kevin Smith had in real life, and use that as a point to evaluate his own perspective on things and retell his own life story. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how it all comes together.
What's very cool about this, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, been following him since he broke through with the first Clerks back in, God, what was that, the early 1990s, and Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma. I've been following him his whole career. I actually did, myself and my lovely bride, made a pilgrimage to his hometown in New Jersey, Red Bank, New Jersey. We visited the original Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash, went to all the landmarks where he made Clerks and Chasing Amy, got to meet Walt, the fanboy who runs the secret stash.
Did you get to count eggs at the Quick Stop?
I did go into the Quick Stop, and as soon as I came into the Quick Stop, the family who owns it, which is the same family that owned it when Kevin Smith
The Lorenzos.
he walked in and I looked around and they said, and then they looked at me and they go, "Kevin Smith fan?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they go, "In the back." So yeah, I went to the freezer. I pulled out a bunch of milk to find the right expiration date, and counted some eggs and tested them to find the perfect carton of eggs. RST Video was not open when I was there, so I couldn't rent Happy Scrappy Fun Pup. But so he's gonna make Clerks 3, and he's gonna make it in New Jersey. He's gonna make it at the stores. So we will see where it goes. I'm cautiously optimistic because his last few films haven't been all that great.
I didn't even see Tusk to talk about it, but I saw a couple of clips, and then the people who were involved in it kept saying, no, it's the worst mistake ever made. It's the Samantha Mathis Mario Brothers treatment that they're giving to the movie Tusk, so I feel like I don't need to add that one to the list.
Yeah, and I watched Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which was just not so great. So
That was Miramax saying, "Hey, we want to do more with these, so just give us more with these guys, and we're going to give you a bunch of money." That was the money.
And it
money
did feel like just one long, crass inside joke. So I have bigger hopes for Clerks 3. But the other big Kevin Smith news this week is he dropped his reboot of He-Man, the Masters of the Universe cartoon on Netflix.
Masters of the Universe Revelations, which just dropped on Friday. And I was a lifelong He-Man fan. I was one of the kids. I watched that show every day. I had every single He-Man figure. I had the Eternia playset.
Nice.
I had Castle Grayskull. My buddy Ryan up in New York had Snake Mountain. So we would actually have to. We didn't have to have everything ourselves. We kind of shared, and we would battle across the neighborhood there. I had He-Man come to a birthday party.
Nice.
When I was younger, there's a picture of He-Man holding up my mom.
Nice.
Doing this mighty cool thing. I gotta find that picture someplace.
You do, and if you do, you need to share it.
It's gonna be a little while before I track it down.
Yeah, you find it, you need to share it on Nerdspresso. That's awesome.
So cool. So I have been looking forward to this since it was announced, and You know, it's definitely it's a continuation of the Masters of the universe that we had back in the 80s. You've got all the same characters there. You got Cringer, you got Fisto, you got Roboto, you got Mechanic, all these folks, Triclops, everybody's in it. And they're also kind of modernizing things. So they're expanding on that world a little bit in a way that has had some of the other diehard folks a little miffed, because it goes in new directions and it kind of deconstructs what a hero is.
So kind of the Last Jedi treatment for He-Man.
It's vaguely Last Jedi-ish.
Yeah.
It's vaguely Last Jedi-ish, and that is, it's polarizing, is what it is.
Imagine that. Fans divided over something.
I know, right? Oh my God. But it's got a really cool cast for putting this all together. So Skeletor is Mark Hamill, who is basically, he's just doing the Joker voice, and it's just, bring me He-Man, I will destroy him myself. You know, that's not a good Mark Hamill Joker, but it's really good to see it.
Yeah.
Evelyn is done by Lena Headey from Game of Thrones.
And Gunpowder Milkshake. Look at that.
Man-at-Arms is done by Liam Cunningham, who was Sir Davos Seaworth, also in Game of Thrones. And we have, as Triclops, Henry Rollins.
Oh my.
Who is just completely balls out insane in what he's doing, not only in the role, but in the way he delivers. It's so good.
When you want to be in the studio for that recording, he's probably like downing like 7 Red Bulls and a box of Pop Rocks before he gets on the mic.
So Triclops was... all the figures look the same because the show was a marketing thing.
Yeah, all the molds were the same.
One super jacked up barbarian Arnold Schwarzenegger figure with different heads.
They all look like that, and they're all squatting. Yeah.
So one of the heads had a thing where you could turn his face around, and he had 3 different eyes in a band. And so you could have like angry eyes, laser eyes, and then freezing eyes, or whatever you want to do. And so
or hungry eyes.
That was the part of your imagination. You could do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
And so what they've done with this one is they've taken Triclops, this technological human hybrid thing, and they turned him into a digital cult leader. And it's insane to watch how all these things come together, and it's one of my favorite parts of the show, to see how all this stuff comes together. But then, in addition to that, Teela, who was Prince Adam and He-Man's best friend in the original one, has moved into kind of like the leading role in this, and she is voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Look at that.
So it's Buffy and Cersei and Davos fighting the Joker, a.k.a. Skeletor.
What could be better than that?
I mean, you just got to get Jon Snow in there someplace, and maybe Kevin Conroy comes back or something.
That would be a fun thing. So you got Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith kind of led the charge on this, and he's written and produced it.
Yep.
And it is, I feel, it captures the nostalgia for the original series.
Yes.
But kind of breaking some new ground, adding some modern storytelling to what essentially was a toy commercial back in the day that we didn't notice at the time. And one of the things that this show has done, which helped fix something that always bugged me about the original He-Man series, because Prince Adam, to me, just looks like He-Man with clothes on.
Right.
And everyone's like, where did Prince Adam go? And it's like, we need He-Man. And so the big transformation, the way he gets, how he got the power was to just put on his furry little bathing suit. So I like the idea in this that Prince Adam looks different from He-Man, and there's a big transformation there. But
it's more of a Shazam than a Clark Kent.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. So, definitely a fun watch, especially if you're a He-Man fan. I see Juliana's given us some comments, so let's catch up on those before we move on.
She said that Captain America is #awesome and Die Hard is a Christmas movie classic. She also enjoyed The Hunt and A Quiet Place 2.
Quiet Place 2 is definitely something that's on our list.
Yeah.
And Juliana, did you watch that streaming, or did that lure you back into movie theaters? Because we are very curious about our nerd brethren and sisterin who have ventured forth back into the movie palaces.
She also watched a movie that I've been a fan of called Dinosaur 13, which it's definitely worth a watch if you're streaming. It's the story of Sue, the specimen that was at once how it was discovered, the shady dealings that happened in the back end to make sure that the specimen was actually getting apprehended. It went into state custody for a while before it went to the auction block, and then it's kind of crushing to see how the communities around Sue were so impacted. But fun thing to know about this is that story had a significant impact not only on our city, but on this conversation.
Really?
Because if the events of Dinosaur 13 hadn't happened, we would not know each other.
Look at that.
And this is going to take us way over our time. Oh, she saw Quiet Place 2 in the theater.
Yay!
Awesome.
All right. How did you feel? Did you feel comfortable? Did it feel good? Did they take care of you? How was it returning to the movies? What about the popcorn? What about the sticky stuff on the floor? What about the baby crying in the third row? What about the couple making out next to you? What about the old man that walked out the exit and left the door open?
How far'd you get in the Aerosmith video game?
Okay.
So Sue watched Dinosaur 13 to see the whole saga
And
of
Sue
the dinosaur.
is the T-Rex on display at the Field Museum?
Correct.
Okay.
At the time, she was the largest and most complete T-Rex ever discovered. We have another one that is a little bit bigger, but doesn't have as many parts and pieces. So she's still the most complete. So now we're looking at all this. Watch what happens to Sue and her adventures there. In order to get Sue to the Field Museum, Disney and McDonald's contributed a lot of money to help raise the stakes and to win it at the auction. Part of the deal was that Disney was getting ready to open up Animal Kingdom, and they wanted to have the preparation or the pulling of the rocks out of the bone of Sue here in Orlando. So they did that, and they started to work on Sue, and they found out that it's really exciting for people who are interested in dinosaurs, but not so much for people looking for a theme park. So they reached back out to the Black Hills, which is where Sue came from.
The Black Hills Institute,
Black Hills
which
Institute.
is like the preeminent fossil place in the country.
Yeah. And they said, we need some more dinosaurs to jazz this up. So they created the Dinosaur Jubilee, where they brought in 17 different specimens of dinosaurs and prehistoric reptiles and turtles and a pteranodon and a big mosasaur. You had a huge T-Rex named Stan. You had a full Triceratops. You had a half a Triceratops, all kinds of cool stuff. And it was really something exciting for people to see while also watching history unfold. And then when Sue was ready to go back on display, and Animal Kingdom was ready to unveil their new dinosaur ride and expand all these things out, they said, all right, well, we need the room. We don't need these dinosaurs anymore. Where can we donate these? And so the specimens from the Dinosaur Jubilee that were brought in to support the preparation of Sue ended up at the Orlando Science Center. And when I applied for a job at the Science Center, I was excited to just get in there and start doing some educational work. I went up to the 4th floor and saw the dinosaurs, and then decided I had to be here. And so I started working at OSC because of the dinosaurs. And that is where we met. We built a great friendship.
Yes.
And now Nerdspresso exists because Sue Hendrickson needed to stick around after a flat tire and waited to see what would happen next.
Look at that.
Full circle.
Look.
And I think, Jeff, that's going to bring us up to our time because I know we were...
Yeah. There were a couple of
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple other things that we wanted to chat about before we rocked out.
Okay, then.
Yeah, but yes,
I thought
we
that
need.
was a good
Well, you know what? But I think we do need to wrap this up, so we will hold off for our next episode. But you know, guys, look out there for news on the Nerdspresso page. Star Trek 4 apparently is a green light. The next movie, and we've got a new Batgirl. So we have a new Batgirl. So let's check it out. So check the page, and we will talk about it the next time we see you.
And the last thing before we go, happy 70th birthday to indelible celebrity crush, Miss Linda Carter.
Happy birthday, Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman, and one of my first celebrity crushes. Happy birthday.